Hey, this is it. It's week 7. It's put up or shut up. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the last penny. Headline, Los
Live from the RamCave. I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the October 16th, 2024 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Benched, the app. Never get a zero, never get a goose egg because you didn't adjust your roster. Bench the app does it for you this fantasy season. All right, this is the moment for the Rams, right? Almost everything is defensible. 3 games they've lost. Forget the Cardinal game. 3 games they've lost by a total of 17 points, right? Those are those NFC Central teams or NFC North teams, right? Lions, Packers, Bears. All by one score game, all one possession, one score games, combined total of 17 points. I can make every argument in the world that, hey, we're going to be okay. And I think they're good arguments. But this Raider game is a layup, okay? You're going against either Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. Devontae Adams is out of town. Max Crosby didn't even practice today. This team is in disarray, right? The Antonio Pierce effect is starting to wane. This one's a layup for the Rams. And honestly, you're running out of options these days if you start blowing layup games. The layup games are gone. You could afford to lose this game if you hadn't given away the game in Chicago. You beat Green Bay like you should have beat Green Bay at home. These were games you could have won, should have won, and it doesn't look good. So you got to win this game. And there's no defending the Rams if they lose this game. There's no way to make it right? Because there's just not enough time. And so it's brutal. They got to win this game. This is the layup they got to win. They got to beat the Raiders right now. We brought it up on Monday. Hey, Bill, thank you for joining us. I'll be right there answering your questions here in a second. Keep firing your questions, guys. We brought it up on Monday, but I really want to emphasize it again. This coming Tuesday, by Tuesday morning, the Rams should be in 3rd place and only 1 game out of 1st place, right? You could technically say they could be in 2nd place with the Seahawks and 49ers tied for 1st, if you want to go that way. But Rams will be 1 game out, 1 game behind those teams. Rams beat the Raiders. Chiefs should beat the beat the 49ers. Chargers can beat the Cardinals, and Falcons can beat the Seahawks. This gives the Rams a shot, okay? It's within the division that they have to win these games. And things in the NFC West are there for the Rams. Trey Greenlaw is still on the PUP list for the 49ers. Drake Jackson's gone for the year. John Feliciano is out. Javon Hargrave is gone for the year. Hufanga is back on the IR with torn ligaments in his wrist. Christian McCaffrey still has that Achilles tendonitis. So the 49ers are far from healthy, right? And they're still starting Colton McGivens at right tackle. There we go. All right, so you're still in good shape there. Cardinals, Marvin Harrison's in concussion protocol. They've had injuries. Seahawks haven't had Byron Murphy for 3 weeks. He was gone for 3 weeks. They lost all 3 games. It's a hamstring, a little bit tender. They're going to Atlanta this week. Vikings, Aaron Jones has an injury. And I bring up the Vikings because they're not in the NFC West, of course, but the Rams are playing them on a short week. So it's worth paying attention to. They play the Lions this week, and we want to see them get roughed up. Blake Cashman has turf toe. He could miss both the Lions game and the Rams game. The Vikings reacquired Cam Akers. Dallas Turner, the defensive end or the edge guy that everyone had some sights on, that was taken ahead of Jared Verse, hasn't made a splash, has not made the splash that Jared Verse has. So Minnesota plays Detroit on Sunday, and then has to travel to Inglewood to face the Rams. We need, all right, we need these teams to lose, right? We need the Vikings to lose. We got a toss up between the Packers and the Lions, but we need between the Lions and the Vikings, but we're going to play the Vikings. I want the Vikings down when they come to Inglewood. We've already lost to the Lions. We need the Packers to lose this week to the Texans at home. We need these things to happen. Not saying the Rams are going to qualify for a wild card, but these things have to happen just because it helps the Rams along the way. So it just helps us look at the schedule and see what's going on. Rams stuff. Rams released offensive lineman Jerron Christian. He was that guy that was signed right after week one when the whole flurry of hits came on the offensive line. And he didn't play a snap, but his departure indicates, and we found out today, that Joe Noteboom is in the window now and could likely be activated by Thursday night. Likely as a backup, I would think. Because even though Logan Bruss hasn't been great, Joe Noteboom can play left guard. I think the chemistry is something you want to continue to build on. Alaric Jackson, left tackle, Logan Bruss, left guard, Bo Limmer at center, Kevin Dotson at right guard, Rob Havenstein. Unless something gets crazy with some of those guys, especially Logan Bruss, I don't see Noteboom going into the starting lineup. I wouldn't upset the chemistry. Chemistry is means a lot for an offensive line. And then, of course, the talk about Cooper Kupp coming back, and I see questions about maybe should we have traded Cooper Kupp. The Rams should be able to beat the Raiders without Cooper Kupp. If he does play, I hope it's limited snaps, right? Because you got the short week. You don't want Cooper Kupp collecting a bunch of snaps and then have to play 3 days later on Thursday. Because the Rams will be asking those old legs and feet to play way too soon. And, of course, my one beef with Uncle Stan, I haven't talked to him for a while, is Uncle Stan, what is the deal with the awful carpet at SoFi? This is supposedly the nicest stadium in football. You're probably the richest owner in football. And I understand it's a multi-purpose venue, but for goodness sakes, gracious, the face of your corporation is the Rams, right? Get some grass in there. The technology's there, right? You got a glass roof, for heaven's sakes. Get some grass in there so you're not beating up your players. You want a longer run? You want Stafford to stay around? You want Kupp to stay healthy? Get some grass in there, Uncle Stan. Get some grass in there. All right, around the NFL and other places, Davante Adams to the Jets. Everyone's making a big deal about it. Adams goes there for a third round, possibly a second round upgrade. I don't really care because I think the Jets are toast. The one that really got to me was Amari Cooper going to the Bills. That signals where the Browns are at, but also that was a really good move by the Bills. They gave up basically, what did they give up? A third round and a seventh in 2026. Third rounder next year, a seventh in 2026, and they got back a sixth in 2025. And Amari Cooper. That's a great trade for the Bills. And that I don't like because the Rams are going to be playing the Bills. I think that could be a real boost to Josh Allen. All right. Steelers talking about flipping Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. And I'm the first one to slam Steeler fan Rob over his slobbering of Justin Fields, right? I don't think Fields is a great quarterback, but whether he's a great quarterback or not, the Steelers are winning, and they're kind of winning ugly, right? But they're winning. I don't think I'd replace Fields right now with Russell Wilson. Not at this moment. Ugly winning is still winning. And unless there's a massive meltdown, give Fields these next 2 weeks and then make a change at the bye, right? They got the Jets this week, and I'm not sure who they have next week. But let Fields finish it out and then make your move. Right? Around the NFL and other places here, former Rams long snapper Jake McQuaid has signed with the Bears. McQuaid was part of that trio of McQuaid, Hecker, and Zerline for so many years with the Rams. He's signed with the Bears. The Vikings have reacquired Cam Akers. We talked about that. And the Giants released former Ram cornerback Duke Shelley is out there. Robert Saleh is on the hot seat. Well, Robert Saleh is gone. Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson are the two coaches most likely on the hot seat. Before we go to break, how about those Mets? I know the game's going on. Don't give me any updates. I'm recording it. Mets have an opportunity to take out the Dodgers. Go ahead 2-1 tonight with Walker Buehler on the mound. Excited about this. Severino's going. He's been pitching well down the stretch for the Mets. And I was there Monday when the Mets spoiled the party. It was really funny because I was asking Dodger fans, saying I didn't understand what was going on because I thought the series was over after game one. Everyone kind of told me the series was over after game one, but yet, what do you know? It's a series that's tied 1 game apiece. All right, let's look at some questions before we go to the commercial here. I got a couple from Bill. Do you feel the Rams should have taken a shot at Cooper or Adams? Nah, I really don't. Not right now. I think, I just wouldn't have. Maybe, if Cooper comes for a 3rd round pick, I don't know, maybe. But right now, the Rams are in a good spot because those guys have contracts. And I don't know if they add that much to you. I think the Bills really needed Cooper. Aaron Rodgers needs a pacifier. That's all I could think of. They need to keep Aaron, he's the head coach now. They need to keep Aaron Rodgers. I'm good with the Rams passing on that. Bill, do you see Roseboom or Reeder starting at linebacker this Sunday? I have a note on it later in the show with the break is if you're going to make a move after the bye week, right? It seems like this would be the time to make a move. But if you don't see Spates or Hummel right now, barring an injury, I don't know when they're going to be ready. And I think, again, if you look at Troy Reeder, because it's funny, we throw out the PFF grades when we don't like them. We keep them when we like them. And so everyone's telling me that Troy Reeder's, terrible linebacker. He's only 7 spots out of like 65 or something like that. Only 7 spots behind Ernest Jones right now. Ernest Jones isn't playing all that great either. Troy Reeder's Troy Reeder, and I think the Rams are trying to make it work. And Christian Rosewood, he plays hard, and all these guys play hard. Spirit is willing, flesh is weak. So I have no problem with them making a move, but I think they're going to make a move when they're ready, right? I think they are. I think we all want to see it. But I think the problem with Ram fans, though, is that we think that somehow that's going to be the remedy to everything. Again, let's remember, the Rams lost 3 games, and each of those 3 games, not counting the Cardinal game, they lost to the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions by 1 possession, a total of 17 points. The defense hasn't been great, but boy, it's been good enough. It's been good enough where they should have won. So I could see the move happening. I'm not going to be upset if it does happen, but I think the Rams are going to do it when they're ready. Bill, do you believe the thought that teams that play the Lions lose the following week, the Vikings play the Lions on Sunday? I hope that works out. I really hope, because it sure worked out for the Rams. Rams played the Lions and got their butts kicked in Cardinal land. I hope it works out. I like it that the fact that the Vikings are coming here. It's a short week for them, but they're the ones that have to do the traveling, right? And so that's good news. Rams are slowly getting healthy. Although, I think McVay said it, and I think we talked about it too. The idea that even though for week 7, that Avila and Nakua were eligible to come back, we knew. I'm thinking more week 9 as an actual return time for them and stuff. And so I know people are getting worked up about wanting those guys back, but you could beat the Raiders. You can beat the Raiders without them, and then it's a quick turnaround, and you have an opportunity. I don't think the Vikings are invincible. I don't think they're invincible. They're banged up a little bit right now, and I do believe that if that Ram defense, those edge guys, can start finishing, and they had 2 weeks off now. They had the bye week. If they've learned something, saw some film, slowed their breathing, and finished some of these plays. I think the defense is going to look a whole lot better. I think it's going to look a whole lot better. Tim Burns, if we lose to O'Connell, it's pretty much over. I agree. Tim Burns, Steelers are Dilfer winning. Yeah, they are. But, Brian Billick stayed with Dilfer. Of course, he had Tony Banks on the bench, I think. He wasn't going to go back to Tony Banks. But yeah, they're winning with Dilfer. And here's the hard part for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't say this to ridicule Steeler fan Rob, is that they put so much money into their defense. Well, You can come back and say, oh, we just didn't have enough offense. No, sorry. You pushed your chips in on the defensive side. You're going to have to shut down Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. You put your money there. You got to shut it down. You lost to the Cowboys at home. Sorry, it's Dak Prescott. I mean, that's Dak Prescott. That's not Roger Staubach. That's not Troy Aikman. That's not even Tony Romo. That's Dak Prescott. And you lost at home. So you put your money on your defense. Your defense has to win it for you. And I don't think there's any excuse if Steeler fans come back and say, well, our offense sucked. Well, no, this is the offense you purchased. This is where you put your money. Let's see. The Steeler fan Rob, go Dodgers. Okay. USA expat. Bleeding blue here. Yeah, Mets wear blue and orange. All right. Expats, a Met fan. Tim Burns. How does Bronny jack three-pointers on his first two possessions when he is 0 for preseason from 3? Make it stop. I love it. I'm sorry it has to happen to the kid, but the kid should know better himself. And LeBron's bringing it on. ESPN wants their story. The NBA wants their story. And they're going to think it's Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr.-esque, and it's not. But everyone's going to get all heartwarming, take pictures, and they're going to get a nice picture of father and son, yada, yada, yada. And then there's going to be an exchange and a slam dunk on a break. And the truth is the kid doesn't belong. Everyone knows the kid couldn't get on the floor at USC. Now, I understand he's coming off the heart thing. I saw the kid play. I think G League is way over anticipating what he could have done when you're watching him at USC, but his last name is James. And even Colin Cowherd, in a slimy kind of way, they're talented, but slimy kind of way to say, oh, the Lakers in the league owe LeBron a favor for being the face of the leagues for so long. But they're really good at turning to that cartoon act. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Steve Ramirez. Just signing on to say hi. Dodgers are on. Have a good one. Thanks, Steve. Thank you so much. I know we're on opposite sides of the fence here. Go Mets. There we go. Tim Burns. Kamala melted down on Fox. Synapses misfire in real time. I thought it was recorded. I don't know. Let's see. Steeler fan Rob. Jets and Giants. That's opportunity there, Steeler fan Rob. What do you think? Don't you think you should stay with Justin Fields at least up to the bye? Because I'm kind of thinking that way. USA expat. Let's hope for our first home crowd. Yeah, do the Vikings travel well? I don't know if they travel well. I really don't. Tim Burns. Weird you never hear Trout's name anymore. Are we talking Mike Trout? Mike Trout? I got a story on Mike Trout if you guys stick around if I haven't told it yet. I do have a story from somebody who knows him. Tim Burns, LBJ, and Bronny will be the first duo to score 50. LeBron will score 47 of them. Okay, that's funny. All right, I'm Joe Terosian. I was a sports writer for 21 years, and now I get to do RamView thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law, Temple City Auto, and of course, Bench the app. And if you're tired of losing fantasy games because you forgot to check your lineup, with Bench the app, that's a thing of the past. Bench is the only app that ensures you never leave a non-starting player in your lineup. Don't miss out on crucial points. Don't be the one who forgot to bench a player on game day. Win your league, keep your pride, talk some trash, deliver some spite, and let Bench the app handle the rest. Download Bench the app today and dominate your fantasy season. All right, let's you guys can throw some more questions up there. Let me just get through this. College football, I got a top 15. Again, these are just teams I've seen. I haven't seen Clemson play. I haven't seen Iowa State play. So at number 15, I got Michigan because I've seen Michigan play. 14, Nebraska. 13, USC because, they could have easily have beaten, right? They could have easily have beaten Michigan and Penn State. I'm not forgiving them for the Minnesota loss, though. 12, Illinois. Altmaier, he's making it happen. They go to Michigan. They get Michigan in West Lafayette. And that's going to be, they get Michigan in Champaign. Sorry, I'm thinking of Purdue. Kansas State looking really good. They go to West Virginia. I was in West Virginia. I was right near where the Mountaineers play ball there. And boy, that town's all West Virginia. Missouri, Auburn. Missouri should win that one. I got Missouri at number 10. Notre Dame at number 9. LSU number 8. Ohio State has a bye this week. I got them at number 7. Miami 6-0 goes to Louisville. Penn State at number 5. I don't like Penn State. I don't think they're that good. I think they're going to fall apart when they play the Biggies. But they're 6-0 right now, and they go to Camp Randall, playing in Wisconsin. Oregon goes to West Lafayette. There we go. I got Oregon number 4 because I don't think Oregon is better than Georgia, Alabama, or Texas. Speaking of which, number 3, Georgia goes to Texas. That should be a great game. Number 2, Alabama goes to Tennessee. And then Texas, again, hosts Georgia. It's my number 1 team. NFL trade deadline is November 5th, 2024. Rams draft capital is in 2025. They got a number 1, 2 number 3s, a number 4, and 3 6s. And they have their full complement of picks in 2026. So if the Rams want to make a deal, there's still time. It would be interesting to see them pick off 2 wins here, get to 3 and 4, see the division collapse around them, and then see if the Rams are, I think week 9, the Rams play at Seattle. You win that game and you're 4 and 4. That means Seattle is cratering. We know where Frisco's at. Boy, you wonder, would the Rams make a move? Who would they make a move for? I love the idea of Max Crosby, but come on, you're not going to get Max Crosby, right? You're not. Could we get Max Crosby? That would be kind of cool. All right. Looking at the lineup coming out of bye week, of course, Stafford's going to be at quarterback. It looks like Blake Corum has jumped in front of Ronnie Rivers. So the Rams got to feel really good about their running back room with Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, and Ronnie Rivers, who the team has a lot of confidence in. Tight ends, Colby Parkinson, Hunter Long, and Davis Allen. Everyone's really – I don't know if Colby Parkinson has played that bad, but I think fans need someone to blame. So you can't blame Atwell right now, right? So if Atwell's off the table, I got to blame Parkinson, right? So we got to find somebody to blame. That's my sense of it. And I don't think Parkinson's played as well as Higbee can in the past, but still early. And I think play calling affects some of that too. Wide receiver, you got Demarcus Robinson, Atwell, Whittington, and of course Tyler Johnson. Not even thinking of Cooper Kupp. I'm hoping if Kupp is activated, he plays 10 snaps, 15 snaps. We don't want him putting games on that turf, on those legs and feet 4 days apart. So Rams can win this game against the Raiders without Kupp. They need to win this game. People have asked me about Robinson. Why is Robinson not playing like he did last year? Well, remember when Robinson was on the field last year, he had Kupp and Nakua. He was going against their third corner or their slot corner. And this year, right now, when you see the Rams trot out with Robinson, Atwell, Whittington / Johnson, well, their best corner is generally going on Demarcus Robinson. So yeah, he's not putting out the number and the production he put out last year. He's not a number 1. He is a number 3, and that's where he excelled last year. If you look, again, going back to PFF, depending on how you want to grade those things, if you look at the grades along the defensive front, Kobe Turner, Bobby Brown, and Braden Fixer are more than respectable, almost above respectable. But we know the Rams are struggling stopping the run, and it has to do with those guys, Neville Gallimore, Tyler Davis, and some of the guys they've run in there, let alone the run stuffing linebackers. But these guys aren't playing terrible. And again, I go back to 3 of the Rams' 4 losses have been 1-possession games. At the edge, you got Verse and Young. Just try to finish, go back to the touchdown that the defense scored against Green Bay, and it summed up the Rams' whole season on defense. Byron Young, who played all of last year, he's in his second year. He had a shot. All he had to do was open up his arms and wrap up Jordan Love. Now, we get a safety there, right? Instead of maybe a touchdown that he tried to throw away and Jalen McCullough got. But the technique, he tried to blast him instead of wrapping him. And Verse and Young, they just have to finish. And once they start finishing, I think people are become more fearful of this Rams defense, right? It all boils down to finishing. Hopefully, again, they caught their breath, watched some film, and got things straight during the bye week. Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom, yes, of course, there could be improvement. I get what everyone's saying, but I don't think they're the sole reason the Rams are where they're at. Again, we need somebody to blame, right? We're not going to blame the kids, so let's blame Reeder and Roseboom. Spates and Hummel, if they don't play this week or this Thursday, I get the feeling that you're not going to see them, right? Because this is the opportunity for them to play. Bye week, chance to reset, look at things again. It'll be interesting to see. Barring an injury, though, If they're not on the field in these next 2 games, I don't think it's going to happen. At corner, Darius Williams seemed to bring some peace to that secondary against Green Bay. Hopefully, he's going to bring some more balance to that spot. Kobe Durant just has to be better. And this is Kobe Durant's 3rd year. We got 1 more year after this with Kobe Durant. At one time, it looked like he was the guy that was going to be locked in, right? And he needs to step up, or Rams are going to be looking at a compensation pick. The Rams are going to get a 6th-round pick for him in compensation because they're not going to re-sign him after next year. But I think between Ahkello Witherspoon and Josh Wallace, they can handle the slot position. Jalen McCullough can also handle the slot. I do like Quentin Lake at safety full-time. Cam Curl to this point has been a major whiff. The good news about Cam Curl is that he's on a 2-year deal, 9 rocks. He's a dead cap hit next year, a 4.7 if the Rams, decide to walk away. It stings a tiny bit, but, they might have to make room and decide, you know what, he just didn't get it done. Hopefully he has a better second half. And remember, the safety room was originally, not to be starters, but these are the guys coming out that were in the safety room. Jason Taylor, Russ Yeast, and then Cam Kitchens was getting a lot of snaps because of injuries, but Cam Kitchens isn't ready. John Johnson got hurt. Hence, a UDFA out of Tennessee, Jalen McCullough, has been increased playing time each of the last 3 weeks. He's collected 27 snaps this season on defense, not special teams, defense. And so I think it's fascinating watching McCullough and Josh Wallace get reps and snaps in a game, considering they are undrafted free agents. We've talked about Cooper Kupp, Noteboom back in the zone as well. We're still talking about Nakua and Avila and John Johnson. A lot of these guys, Jonah Jackson, these guys can be ready to come back. I think they can come back anytime. I would think Nakua and Avila are more week 9 against Seattle. Got to win those division games, and you want them at their top spot. Let's look at a couple more questions here before we go to I do have one, just one, from Manuel Vasquez. Thank you for clicking on, Manny. Reeder and Roseboom are an Achilles heel on that defense. I know that McVay has never put a premium on linebacker, but without Donald then maybe he should. I just feel like, again, I think they're the easy ones to come after. Again, one possession each time, one big play in the secondary. If the secondary was better, if Cam Curl was better, if Trey White was better, it's just a different outcome. And we're still going to be complaining, but we're going to be complaining with a 3-2 record instead of a 1-4 record. I'm not against a change, Manny, not against a change. Keep your eye out. I think these next 2 games will show where Spates and Hummel are at. And if they play, okay. If they don't play, I don't think we're going to see them unless there's an injury. Tim Burns, it isn't Reeder and Roseboom. They are second and third tacklers. I argue they keep us in games, but it isn't pretty. I think they just really struggle in coverage, and they're just not athletic enough. Spirit is willing, flesh is weak. Again, these are glorified special teamers. Reeder just a little bit more, but we know what Roseboom is. How many times did the Rams cut and release and sign and cut and release and sign and bring Roseboom back to practice squad? And he just worked his way up by attrition, right? Micah Kaiser is gone. Kenny Young's gone. All these guys, they're gone. Ernest Jones, gone. They just come and they go. They come and they go. And so, the Rams don't put a premium on it. I'm not happy they traded Ernest Jones, but whatever it was, 2 Super Bowls in 6 years, I got to give the Rams the benefit of the doubt. I just have to. So we'll see, but I think you have a right to complain, but I don't think it's everything's going to be better just because of Reeder and Roseboom. I think Trey White, Cam Curl, Cam Kitchens have hurt us much, much more than those guys. There we go. So Raiders, Rams, Raiders were projected to win 6.5 games this year. Max Crosby is a beast, right? You look at who they got. Colton Miller at left tackle. He's a beast. Remember at Dylan Parham? He's the guy out of Memphis. A lot of people projected Dylan Parham going to the Rams a couple years ago. He's their right guard now. He played some center, and he's having the best. He's playing the best ball of his career right now at right guard. But that's about all there is on their offensive line. The Raiders are good against the run on defense, horrible, and actually grade worse than the Rams against the pass defensively. Offensively, they can't seem to run the ball, and now they've lost Davante Adams. So Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are saying thanks for nothing. But, of course, Davante Adams hasn't played for 3 weeks. He had that miraculous healing of his hamstring suddenly. People might be thinking blowout. I'm just thinking playoff opponent. And I'm just thinking don't screw around with these guys. That's what I'm thinking. Don't give them any hope. Crush them early until Kupp and the cavalry returns. Use that 12 personnel. Get Hunter Long snaps. Hunter Long has actually made NFL catches now. Get him the snaps. Pound the ball. The Rams have run the ball successfully against almost every team they've played. Run the ball. Run the ball. Oh, yeah, by the way, Sean, run the ball. It's the same formula we've been screaming for. And take the pressure off everybody else. Keep Max Crosby off Matthew Stafford's back, right? I got the Rams winning this one 31-16, but as Mr. Burns has said and everyone else has said, there's just not going to be an argument to make if they can't win this game. I can't make an argument. We'll just call the games as we see them. But to me, they lose this game, I'm thinking about making moves. That's when I would think about making moves as well. You win a couple, you string together, then you get to that first week in November, and maybe you want to make a move to strengthen for a playoff run or a division title run. But if you lose this game, I'm making moves. I'm making moves, and everyone's back on the table. Well, almost everyone's back on the table. Tim Burns, Rams 38, Las Vegas 20. Tim Burns, props to Matt Ariza for being top 5 NFL punter. Hey, good for Matt Ariza. I hope he's got a good lawyer, and I hope he sues the pants off of everybody in the NFL. I wish he would. Manuel Vasquez, Rams 34-13. So I think we all kind of see it similarly. Mr. Burns, you asked me what I was this year. I went 13-1 last week, by far my best week of the season. Tell you how bad I was this year. I'm only 48-44 on the season. My picks have been terrible this year. Terrible. Let me get through the week 7 schedule here, Mr. Burns, and then we can speculate on who the Rams can move. Broncos Saints on Thursday night, the Steve Ramsey Bowl. I think Sean Payton returning to the Superdome. I think the Saints are struggling. Derek Carr is out. I know people got a little excited about Spencer Rattler. I don't know. I saw Spencer Rattler play in college, and I know they produced some points in that second quarter last week, but I'm going Broncos in this one. Patriots at Jaguars. This is the should we fire Doug Peterson Bowl, because if you lose to the Patriots, that dude needs to be canned. There's just no defense, right? You can't lose to the Patriots at home. Seahawks at Falcons. Hopefully, Raheem will do the Rams a solid, because by coming to the Rams, he got another shot at being a head coach in the NFL. He got a Super Bowl ring. He needs to do us a solid right now and knock off the Seahawks and drop them down a peg to 3-4. Titans are 1-4, and the Bills are 4-2. That's a Bills romp. Bengals are 1-4. Browns are 1-5. If Cincy can't beat the Browns, I'm tired of hearing how great Cincy is. They got to beat the Browns, right? And the Browns are already tanking. They made the move. They got rid of Amari Cooper. They've got their fire sale going, now as well. Texans are 5-1 to go to Green Bay. I just want to see a good game usually when I see these teams play. But I find myself rooting for Houston right now because a Green Bay loss would be a good thing. Now, do I think the Rams have a shot at a wild card? No, I don't think they have a shot at a wild card. I mean, so many things are going to happen for them to have a shot in the wild card, but it doesn't hurt, right? So it only helps the Rams if the Packers can lose, right? Be nice if the Rams got to 9-8 and the Packers got to 8-9, or the Rams got to 10-7 and the Packers got to 9-8, and we didn't have to go to Lambeau. Total fantasy right now. But let's root for the Texans. I'm rooting for the Texans. I find myself my picks this week. People I'm rooting for. Colts Dolphins. That's actually in Indy, the Norm Bulash Bowl. Flacco fever, right? Want the Dolphins buried. I want them not having a reason to play when they come to SoFi. Lions 4-1 going to the Vikings. I don't think Detroit likes Minnesota suddenly crashing their party. Took Detroit so long to get here, right? Took Detroit so long to get, hey, we're the team in the NFC North, right? And then all of a sudden, Caleb Williams and the Bears are climbing, and Minnesota starts out 5-0. I don't think Detroit wants this, right? So Detroit's going to go into Minnesota and put the hurt on those guys. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I'm going with Detroit. And plus, I want the Vikings demoralized coming to SoFi and Inglewood next Thursday. Eagles, Giants. This is the let's see if we can get Nick Sirianni fired bowl. I'm going with the Giants in this one. I'm going with the Giants. I think as much as Saquon Barkley wants to show the Giants, up, I think the Giants probably just are sick of Saquon Barkley, hearing about Saquon Barkley, and Daboll can coach, and the Eagles aren't playing well. You nearly lost to Cleveland at home. You only beat Cleveland by 4 points in Philly. That's gross, right? Giants beat the Eagles. Nick Sirianni gets in serious trouble. Raiders, Rams in the Ron Smith Bowl. I'm going Rams, of course. I think I said 31-16. Mr. Burns said 38-20. Mr. Vasquez said 34-13. Panthers at the Taxkins. Let's go Taxkins. They got this one. Chiefs, 5-0, going to Levi to play the 49ers Sunday afternoon. The Steve Bono Bowl. And this one's interesting. I think the 49ers are capable of beating the Chiefs, but until the Chiefs find a way to lose, I'm not going to pick against them. And so I take the Chiefs to win the Steve Bono Bowl. But isn't this an interesting fact? I think I mentioned this last year. Of course, I mentioned Steve Bono. He was a quarterback for the 49ers and the Chiefs. Joe Montana was a quarterback for the Niners and the Chiefs. So was Steve DeBerg. So was Elvis Gerbach. So was Alex Smith. So if everything falls apart for Brock Purdy, I'm sure they'll move off Carson Wentz at some point in KC. Brock Purdy could come and be Patrick Mahomes' caddy, because Chiefs love ex-49er quarterbacks. Sunday night, Jets Steelers. I want the Jets broken by the time the Rams travel east at the end of the season. And I think the Jets are playing with fire in the sense that they are kind of like, well, not fire or a house of cards. I think a couple of losses after everything else that's gone on this year, and they're just gonna crack. The defense isn't going to be able to keep them in games, and Rodgers is going to sulk. Devontae Adams is going to say, "Why did I want to come here?" And Steelers, though, you got to win this game. You put your money on your defense. Your defense needs to win it for you. All right, your defense needs to win it for you. Monday night, Ravens Buccaneers. I'm going Baker Mayfield. I don't think the Ravens defense is that great. Buccaneers have a shot. And then Chargers Cardinals. And I know some people were upset because that game is exclusively on ESPN Plus, which I refuse to pay for. So I wasn't going to watch the game, but then I realized the Chargers are in LA. So we get to see the game. Most likely we should be able to see the game. I'm taking Chargers in that one. Marvin Harrison is in concussion protocol right now for the Cardinals, and they have a few other injuries, and they're just not that good. And the Chargers have a shot. Grow and pound the ball, run the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball. Cardinals can't stop the run. Chargers should beat them, and that puts the Rams in a great spot going into weeks 7, 8, or 8 and 9 to get back in this hunt. Let's see here. Let's see. Tribe, thank you for clicking on, Joe. Cup might be back this week. So my question goes, that I said at the top of the show, I'm glad Cooper Kupp is about ready to play. I think the Rams can beat the Raiders without Cooper Kupp. They should be able to. I don't want to see Cooper Kupp get a lot of snaps. He's already talked about playing on the hard surface has an effect on him. And then we got a bigger game against the Vikings next Thursday. And so I want him ready for that one. And so I if he wants to run a couple routes to get his timing down, but I wouldn't ask a whole lot of Cooper Kupp this week. It's just good that he's back. Joe Noteboom's likely going to be activated. And so there's opportunity here. The Rams are slowly getting healthier, and maybe, just maybe by week 9, maybe we have John Johnson, maybe we have Jonah Jackson, and knock on Formica, maybe Steve Avila and Puka Nacua by the time we get to week 9, right? And week 9, because this is 7. This is week 7. Week 8 is Thursday. Week 9, after 10 days of rest, the Rams go to Seattle. So I am excited about that. Who would the Rams move, right? Who would the Rams move if everything tanks and they lose, right? Well, I would never think of it. I wouldn't think of it. If I got the right offer for Matthew Stafford, I would think about it. If I got the right offer. But here the thing is, Stafford, if Stafford could just walk next year because the Rams aren't paying him anything, that way that contract's worked out, he might just want to retire. You know, he did the Fox News thing or the Fox Sports thing on Sunday. I would consider him. I'd look at a team that needs a running back. I would. Do you understand? Kyren Williams is going into his last year next year. Could you imagine selling Kyren Williams high, especially if you believe in Blake Corum, right? Someone may need an Atwell, and then somebody's really crazy and they want a Cooper Kupp and they're offering you something and you can get out from his contract. That was the big deal with the Raiders. The Raiders traded Devontae Adams for a 3rd-round pick, but that could go up to a 2nd-round pick. And not only do they get that whole headache out of the building, but that gives them serious cap capital next year. I think they got $90 million rocks for next year under the salary cap. I have to double check where I read that, but I would listen to anything. I would listen to anything. Also, if we lose to the Raiders, yeah, Troy Reader, Christian Roseman, you're gone. I'm starting Spates and Hummel for the rest of the year, right? I would limit Darius Williams snaps because I'd want him to come back next year. I'd play a lot of Josh Wallace, a lot of Jaden McCullough, and I really wouldn't care about Cam Curl at this point. He's gone. But yeah, I think there's moves there. I don't dwell on them too much. What I dwell on is what kind of moves can the Rams make defensively or offensively on a playoff run? And I do still think, I know I spoke well of Fisk, Brown, and Turner. I do think they need another big fat Bubba guy there on the defensive line just to eat space. I do think they need that. I don't think it would hurt to have a better linebacker, off-ball linebacker out there. I'm not saying it's the whole reason. I wouldn't have a problem with that. And then on the offensive side, to me, it's really just about getting healthy. It's just about getting healthy. If you think there's an offensive lineman, no one this time of year is going to give up an offensive lineman unless their team is falling apart. But, I'd say look at the Browns, but their offensive line always seems to get hurt. And they had a pretty good offensive line there for a couple of years. But I'm anxious to see the Rams make a move proactively because they got draft capital. And then you get in the playoffs, anything is possible. Let's see, Mike Vasquez. Hopefully by week 9, we'll actually get to see a full healthy roster. I agree. If you can win 7 and 8, that means you're 3 and 4, and then you're playing Seattle in Seattle, but with a healthy roster and maybe evening things up and going to 4 and 4. And you're back in the division hunt because you got to win over Frisco. Tim Burns, Cup only goes 100. I'm sorry, what does that mean? Only goes 100%. I agree. Then if that's the case and he can't listen to me, of course he has to listen to me. If he can't listen, then he needs to sit. I don't want to see him on Sunday, and because we need him again on Thursday. Thursday's the big one. All right, so let's see what we got here. Let's see what you got.
It was a stone group, my man.
All right, let's see what we got here. This day in Rams history. On this day in Rams history in 1990, Fred Strickland goes on the IR with a fractured leg. Never really quite the same after that. They ran that Eagle defense, and everyone was kind of hoping for Fred Strickland. Plus, he went to Purdue. You wanted more, and it just didn't happen for Fred. 2018, Rams released kicker Cairo Santos, who found his way around the NFL. Fortunately, the Rams have finally found Josh Carty. That's a good thing. 2019, on this day, the Rams put John Johnson on the injured reserve with a shoulder injury. And right now, what is he? He's on injured reserve with a busted scapula. But hopefully he'll be coming back. Ram fans, happy birthday to Steve Avila, who turns 25 today. Hopefully he's working out and getting in shape. John Wolford, the Wolf, who did the Rams a favor. He did the Rams a favor in 2020. He got the Rams that victory over the Cardinals on the last day of the season, got the Rams into the playoffs. We thank him for that. We don't want anything more, but he turns 29 today. So happy birthday to him. On this date in 2006, Rams traded defensive end Anthony Hargrove. I remember Anthony Hargrove. Had a couple of decent seasons for the Rams. Had 6.5 sacks in 2005. And then he played for the Saints and got 5 sacks in their Super Bowl season. And I think that's it. I think that's pretty much what I got. All right. I think we're good. Let's see here. Jim Everett the Great. What's up, Joe? Not much, man. I was getting ready to go watch the Mets play. Just reminding everybody that as we get into this, a reminder that we're going to be back on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Things should get back to normal. I think next week, though, I probably will do shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I want to talk more about the Rams Vikings this next week. So I think I'm going to do 3 shows in a row. And then, of course, we'll be back on the air on Friday. But I do want to talk about that game because I think that's going to be critical. You got to beat the Raiders. Okay, you have to beat the Raiders. Could the Rams lose to the Vikings and still stay in the division hunt? Absolutely, they could. But you got to, because the Vikings aren't a layup. The Raiders are a layup, right? The Raiders are a layup. They got to win that one. Jim Everett, go Dodgers. Don't tell me any scores, man. I'm recording the Mets-Dodgers right now. Let's go Mets. All right. But yeah, that's where I'm at on that. They got to beat them. And if they can't beat the Raiders, then I do think it's time to look at all your options in terms of deals, right? I think it's important to look at all your options because if you can't beat the Raiders, you're not going to beat the Vikings, right? You're not going to beat Frisco up in Levi. You're not going to beat Seattle up there. Is it Lumen Stadium up there? You're just not. You got to take your layups. You got to make your layups. And the Rams have already given away too many games. So they have to beat the Raiders and stuff. So, all right. Reminder, keep an eye. Chiefs and Frisco, rooting for the Chiefs. Chargers, Cardinals, we're rooting for the Chargers. Falcons, Seahawks, we're rooting for the Falcons. Raheem's going to do us a solid. By Tuesday next week, Rams could be 2-4 and in 3rd place. Cardinals could be 2-5 and in last place. And the Seahawks will be 3-4. Niners will be 3-4. Rams 1 game out in the NFC West. It is very, very possible. All right. Tim Burns, 58 rocks in space next year. I wouldn't dump our quarterback and wide receivers just yet. It would have to be, for me to move off Stafford this year, it would have to be something so spectacularly great, right? I mean, there'd have to be another catastrophic injury in the NFL, I think, for a team to want to take on Stafford this year and give up what the Rams would want for Stafford at this point. But I don't know where that catastrophic – we don't even want to think about a catastrophic injury. But I think that's the kind of thing it would take for the Rams to move him, and they're not going to give him away. He may walk next year or he may retire, but they're not going to give him away this year. Kupp, on the other hand, I don't see him having much of a market. He costs too much money and he can't stay healthy, right? Maybe if he strings together 2 or 3 games before the trade deadline, shows he's healthy, maybe somebody wants him, and it wouldn't hurt to be out from under his contract. I know that sounds awful, but if your team can trade Eric Dickerson, if your team can move off Bobby Trees, right? If your team can make those deals that break your heart, trade Lawrence McCutcheon, trade Wendell Tyler, trade Isaiah Robertson. If your team can do those, release Fred Dreyer, these players that you love. If anyone can go, and I don't want to see Kupp go, but he strings together 2 or 3 weeks, healthy weeks after the season goes up in flames. Maybe the Rams can get a 4th round pick for him and get out from under his contract. And it just makes the Rams that much more viable going into 2025. So stuff to think about. Glad to be here. Guys, thanks for clicking on and hanging with me. I know there's baseball on, but I'm going to let you guys go. And all right, I think we're good. Are we good? Yeah, we are. Guys, God bless. Take care. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Be sure to buy my book, Create Day in the RamCave. A lot of you have. I appreciate it. God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon.